Welcome to the Void. Charge Shot is one of Nero's most important combo tools with a variety of functions. In this video, we will be looking at advanced applications using jump cancels with consistent setups. Everything you're going to see in this video is performed on a vanilla, unmodified version of Devil May Cry 5 and can be performed on any system. The only requirements are that you have purchased Enemy Step and Charge Shot 1 from the skill shop. After a charge shot, Nero will be pushed backwards by the recoil from Blue Rose, which severely reduces our options for continuing a combo. Some of these can look pretty good, but sometimes you don't want to use a long distance option. Our goal is to increase our freedom when we decide to use charge shot in a combo. Here are some examples of what you will be able to do applying the techniques taught in this video. Jump cancelling charge shot has a tighter timing than other moves, and it's quite easy to jump before Nero finishes firing. If you jump too late, you'll already be too far from the enemy and out of range for enemy step. You also need to be closer to the enemy than usual, because Nero starts travelling backwards from the recoil before it's time to press jump and cancel the move. Let's start simple. We're going to launch the enemy with high roller, do a vertical jump, then once Nero's feet leave the ground, hold the analog stick toward the enemy so you're as close as possible. When Nero fires charge shot, he lets off 2 bullets. Right after the second shot is fired is when you want to hit jump. Here's the whole thing again in slow motion. Practice this till you're comfortable. Once you've figured it out, start adding other moves after the jump cancel, such as using caliber to arrive where the explosion is going to knock the enemy. Here are some methods for positioning yourself to consistently perform jump cancel while you're already in the air. EX payline is probably the most straightforward method. It moves you closer to the enemy as well as reducing your height, two things that are very useful for charge shot jump cancels. However, it's restricted by requiring EX, so it's not always available. By doing a very short caliber and immediately jump cancelling it, you can get that extra inch to be in range for jump cancel without needing EX. If you do have EX, this micro caliber won't use it up if you jump quickly enough, leaving options open for after the charge shot. By performing a ground bounce with GPO1, then slashing twice, you're as close as you can possibly be to the enemy without going to the other side of it, and the enemy is at the perfect height for an easy jump cancel. Of course, there are other ways to put Nero exactly where you want him. Experiment and find your own. Now that we know how to jump cancel charge shot, we can start adding more layers. By turning Nero after jump cancelling a charge shot, we can change the direction the explosion will launch the enemy to match Nero's facing. You can effectively fully control the enemy's air movement with this technique, so it is extremely powerful. Because we already know how to jump cancel charge shot, this is very simple to do. Before you jump cancel, release lock on so that Nero can turn around, and hold the analog stick in the direction you want the enemy to travel. Congratulations, you have just redirected an explosion. However, there's one problem. If you travel too far away from the enemy, the redirect effect will break and it will go in the direction it would have gone anyway. This means we need to stop our momentum somehow, and there's an easy way to do that. Just hit slash. How you choose to follow it up from here is the fun part. You'll quickly find that trying to hit exact directions with the analog stick is extremely hard, but don't worry too much about it. As the enemy travels over your head, you'll be able to choose which side of it you want to attack from depending on how quickly you choose to act. As always, Devil May Cry is about expressing yourself, and learning techniques like this one is about freedom. Figure out what you like. This is the hardest charge shot technique to learn. By using caliber under an enemy and jump cancelling into a charge shot with correct timing, you get this interaction. Here's the anatomy of it. Enemy gets launched. Caliber goes underneath. Caliber connects, launching enemy away. Caliber is jump cancelled into charge shot. The recoil knocks Nero towards the enemy that is now behind him. Nero is now in position to jump cancel and even redirect. This adds horizontal movement to your combo and lets you follow up a charge shot with almost anything you want from melee range. This technique requires very specific positioning and will take a lot of practice to be able to perform consistently. Practicing from a simple high roller launch is the best way to understand the exact position you need to be in for it to connect. Where your caliber hits is the most important part. We are aiming for the bottom left of the enemy. We want to hit this spot from as low down as possible, and cancel the hit as early as possible. It's very easy to jump cancel before the caliber makes contact, and if your positioning is wrong, you won't cross under the enemy. Poor timing can result in some wonky things like Nero going sideways and not being in position to jump cancel the charge shot. Thankfully, when you do perform it correctly, jump cancelling it is much easier than a standard charge shot, since you'll be rubbing up against your target and can take as long as you like. Here are some canned setups for small enemies to provide some consistency. I recommend doing it raw first so you can properly understand the positioning, but these should help regardless. For Overture, first gain a stock of EX gauge, then jump towards the enemy and press your breaker button immediately. With default controls, sliding your thumb from X to circle is ideal. Jump cancel this hit into 2 slashes, then perform your caliber. If you jump cancel it at the right time, you should get the reverse shot. If you don't have Exceed for the first aerial rave, this setup will not work. After performing a high roller, wait for the enemy to reach its highest point, then do a ground bounce and immediately jump and perform a caliber. This gives you an easy visual cue to timing it perfectly, and also means Nero isn't standing around waiting, which adds flash to your combo. Rawhide has by far the easiest method. Use high roller, hit the breaker button, then as soon as possible jump and perform a caliber. If you made it this far, thanks for watching the first installment of The Void. Hopefully this video has helped level up your Nero gameplay and given you some fresh ideas. If you have any questions, ask away in the comments. And remember troops, stay stylish.